Hey everyone, welcome to the Current Case Podcast. We're a group of 4 friends discussing the latest current events as they apply to our everyday lives. From foreign policy to local events, we cover it all as best we can in a manner not restrained by the bias of the big media corporations. We may not always agree with each other on certain topics, but that is what makes it all the more interesting. Being able to sit down and have a civil conversation on even the most controversial topics is a necessity for a better society.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Current Case Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 9. It is currently March 1st, 2023. It was 71 degrees outside today. It was beautiful.
It was.
Indeed.
Yeah. It was crazy.
though.
Yeah, a little
I'll
bit.
take it. I'll take it.
I won't, considering my flight this afternoon was awfully bumpy.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah,
That's
that's right.
Yeah, gusts went up to 22 as I was coming into land.
That's nothing.
Is that your check ride or is that just regular
No,
practice?
that was regular practice.
Oh, nice. Well, also, please remember to leave a like, subscribe as well. And as you heard from the intro, we have a Weston back joining us. He joined us for the first time back in Episode 2. Of course, we had the brilliant idea of recording in a giant room. And we're also like 20 feet away from the microphone, so the audio was complete shit, and we couldn't hear anything. So this time, we fixed that issue, and he's back once again with a proper episode.
It's just one Weston, though, not multiple Westons.
Did I say multiple Westons?
Just one
Oh,
Weston.
shit. My bad. Well, Weston, how have you been since the last time we were together?
Oh, I'm just wonderful. Yeah, so took one of my big board tests recently. That was a great time. 8-hour test. I had to drive 50 minutes out for it. It was wonderful.
8 hours?
Yep.
What's that at?
We have to do them at specific testing centers, so it went down to Blue Ash.
Oh, wow.
So.
Do you get like breaks throughout the session?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
It was like they give you it's 7 hours of content, and then you get an hour total for the tutorial for how to do it. Even though we've all taken a million tests, and then 45 minutes of break time that we can use pretty much however we want, as long as it's between sections.
Okay.
So,
how'd you do? Overall, do you get results back?
2 to 4 weeks, and then I get to figure out if I passed or not.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then other than that, I think I signed something afterward that I'm not allowed to talk about the test. So
Okay.
it went great.
That's good. Good to hear. Well, at least glad you're doing well. I've heard medical
Thank you.
school's getting hard. I know some other people, they've been stressed as hell, so
It's a little stressful, but it's fine. It's a great experience.
I'm glad. I am glad. Well, it's good to have you back once again. I have some interesting topics for this evening. The first one, kind of one that's been developing these past couple of weeks. I've noticed it really since the Chinese balloon incident. I could make the argument, I'm not sure if you guys will completely agree with me or not, but I do have some points that we are actually starting to, I think, finally cut off, or at least attempt to cut off our relation with China. I think our moves these past couple of weeks have kind of proven that we're wanting to essentially cut them out. They're like that toxic friend we've been waiting to cut out of our lives once and for all, and it's like finally time to do it. So we'll see if this actually happens, but I might actually be praising the government tonight. I know.
It's like
crazy.
it's like a bad ex breakup that you go back to 6 times though. Like just think about how you said it. We're finally starting to attempt to cut off our relations with China. That should tell you enough of how well that's gone.
Right.
So,
This time it's real. We swear.
this,
It's gonna
number
happen.
7 will be the good time, and we won't need a number 8.
We're not going back. But I mean, what I've been saying these past couple of weeks, first, of course, we've been threatening them with sanctions if they were to give lethal aid to Russia. Just today, Biden actually says we're going to seek or work with our allies to form these sanctions. So I think this is kind of a move to prove that we're actually serious about this. That, hey, if China, if you give Russia lethal aid, we will sanction you heavily. So the big question is, I mean, this is kind of more just theory than anything else. Do you think China is going to give Russia lethal aid, or have they already given them lethal aid at this point?
I wouldn't be surprised if they've already given Russia lethal aid, at least discreetly.
Mm-hmm.
But either they're going to do it and they're going to get sanctioned, or they're not.
Oh yeah, China, don't give them lethal aid as we send them all sorts of high-tech equipment and billions of dollars. Boy, yeah, don't do that. Don't do what we're doing, or we'll sanction you even more. Yeah, God forbid.
Don't do it, China. Don't do it. Of course, their position on the war is still peace. Of course, Xi met with Lukashenko today in Belarus, and they said, we want to see an end to the war. But, I mean, every time I see, like, those type of articles pop up, I mean, it's like, I think at this point, it's complete bullshit. Whatever China, Belarus says. We read their peace plan last week. They're essentially saying, hey, we want a peace in the region, but you have to give Russia what they want as well. You need to end those unfair sanctions against Russia. It's like, and you have Lukashenko saying that as well. It's like, how do you want peace in the region when you let the Russian troops rule Belarus, and while China, of course, is secretly collaborating with Russia?
Yeah. Plus, of course, it also sounds like Russia might be attempting to stir some trouble in Moldova with the Transnistria breakaway state.
Right, yeah, I've heard rumors about that as well. I think it was a previous president resigned and then replaced by a more EU positive president. So
Yep, pretty much the same story that played out in Ukraine back in 2014.
Interesting. So we'll have to see what happens there, but I don't buy for a minute that China really, I mean, I think they want peace, but
They want peace on basically their/Russia's terms.
yes, exactly. Anything else, they're just trying to look good for, their own people, basically.
Exactly, that's what I was just about to say. Is like they're making too much money off the rest of the world to not take a stance of peace because Russia's not going to give them enough of what they need.
Right.
So, and especially if they're the ones channeling resources to Russia, like we were already saying. So, I mean, I think we're pretty used to the HR facade that they keep putting up.
Yeah, the mind games. And actually, I'm giving credit to Biden, too. Biden actually said that I think this peace plan is basically bullshit from China. He doesn't think it actually has any merit, which he could have been like, oh, wow, China wants peace, too. That's amazing. But he called out China. He said, hey, I don't think you actually mean what you said here in this peace plan. So, give credit where credit's due.
Rare Biden W.
Rare Biden W. Broken clock. Matt's still recovering from his bird flu, but
I need to scoot further away from you now. I mean, Biden may actually be like, yeah, I'm calling you out, but he's like, and then he adds the sub note support me in my re-election campaign in 2024.
that's right.
Nap time.
Need my yogurt.
Yeah, I'm sure he wants to look real tough for when he has to go for re-election, but that remains to be seen.
True.
Yeah, but I think back onto the subject of the U.S. and China starting to cut ties with this, as you pointed out. First off, I will say if it is actually coming to this, about fucking time we actually did it.
Exactly.
Secondly, though, honestly, we never really should have gotten into this sort of relationship with China in the first place. I think the only reason why it ever happened was because of Nixon and Kissinger, who basically put forward the idea of opening up relations to China so that basically to exploit the Sino-Soviet split in the late 60s.
I disagree. I think if Harambe hadn't been killed, the
Oh
war
my
goodness.
Fuck off. Can we vote people off this podcast?
Yeah, blow them up. Get real. Get out.
Hey, you guys said make it funny. Make it funny.
Matthew was not the imposter.
Anyway, yeah, so I don't know. China,
Sus.
China sucks. But this is not going to be financially and economically good for them if we sanction the hell out of them. But what people are failing to realize is that is also going to be very financially and economically bad for us because of how linked our economies are.
Yeah.
We have so much stuff produced by them, and we're going to have to find somewhere else to do it if things get bad enough between us,
Essentially all of our medicine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, medical supplies, honestly, I feel like that should be nationalized and produced in-house in the United States, given how critical it is.
Well, I mean, we've been having shortages of stuff too.
Adderall.
Well, yeah, they don't it is a really bad situation if doctors actually have to prescribe alternate meds from what they were going to prescribe because we don't have them.
Right.
And obviously, we've had the whole shipping canal, whatever Swiss Canal, thank you, thing happened there where we had shipping back up for a while, and stuff like that does happen. But again, we wouldn't have to ship it if it was made in house. So it's, I don't know, it like Ashton said, the sooner the better, and it should have happened already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we never should have gotten into a relationship with China. After all, like I said, the only reason why that ever happened was because Kissinger and Nixon made the rather stupid move of basically trying to open up relations with China to exploit the Sino-Soviet split in the late 60s,
Mm-hmm.
early 70s. And Tiananmen Square should have been an indicator to all of us, because right there, or in that moment, the true nature of the CCP, their true colors were put on display for the whole world to see.
What are you talking about? Doesn't exist.
Yeah,
all
and basically
conspiracy.
the rest of the world's reaction was basically just a little finger wag, not even a slap on the wrist.
Well, did you see what they're also doing here with their social credit system?
What's that?
Is they will put your face with all your personal information, phone number, address, everything else, on buses, subways, planes, anywhere where they can publicly humiliate you.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
For their social credit system if you do something wrong.
Oh, I'm not familiar with their social
Public
credit
humiliation's kind of public shaming and humiliation's kind of the thing that keeps the average Chinese citizen in line.
I saw Hong Kong ended their 2-year-long mask mandate yesterday, so coincidence? Probably not.
system. Man, it just sounds like such a healthy environment over there. Not psychologically traumatizing at all.
Well, I can't wait to bring that to America.
We need to be more like the rest of the world, okay? We need to. No, I'm not going to go down there.
You know, 2-minute cities and all that.
So what I want to know is, I've been watching a lot of Chinese car crash compilation videos lately.
You
But isn't it true that in China, if you hit someone, they usually go back and kill them because it's cheaper for their insurance?
What?
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
No,
I
okay.
never heard
No.
that one.
Not at all.
Again, don't quote me on this, but apparently there's a law over there that if you hit someone and they suffer injury in a car crash, you have to pay their medical bills for it
Oh,
for
well,
their entire life.
well, a lot of the
So-
ones I've seen have been pretty much fatal. Like, they get flipped over bridges and
God,
Jesus,
Nice.
dude.
you were something dead or
rammed
alive.
under semis and stuff. I don't think there's usually anyone to go back and kill. But what I want to know is, if you hit somebody else's car in China, how does that affect your social credit score? Like, is it like through the ground after that?
It depends on the social credit person. The social credit of the person you hit. If they're negative, it probably goes up.
Oh,
Yeah. Wow.
They have a messed up system over there.
really? I didn't notice that.
So you got to assume that like medical personnel probably have like a relatively high score, right? So I watched a video once where 2 ambulances nailed each other in China. What happened to their
Where do you watch?
Yeah, I want to know where you're finding these
So
videos.
what happened to their respective social credit scores? They both go down? How does that work?
I just want to. Okay, now I can think about it. It's like get an American and a Chinese citizen together to talk about credit score, and just I want to see that conversation because like to see where it goes. Because American credit score is very different than
Yes.
Chinese credit score.
We shouldn't have a credit score in America.
Agreed.
We live off credit scores.
I know.
No,
do.
you live off of credit scores. I live in a bedroom in my dad's house. We are not the same.
No, I don't live off credit scores. I'm so.
But kind of going off of what you said, and Cameron, regarding Chinese vehicles, main things I've seen coming out of China regarding anything with their infrastructure, and like, is how easily that shit falls apart.
That's true.
Oh, for sure.
Everything made in China. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Stable.
I don't remember if I said already, but I've watched videos where a semi carrying a tanker will get like lightly tapped and it's just boom,
Just
explodes, takes out that whole stretch of highway.
I was about to say, like, it's like the toys where like you can you just like press a button and it like pops apart.
Right.
I also remember this one time where you have this busy major 4-way intersection.
Mm-hmm.
Guy's going across on his motorcycle, and all of a sudden, behind him, the whole middle of the intersection just caves in and swallows him and several other vehicles.
The sinkhole opens up.
Average day in China.
Feel the impatient.
Yeah, and another one where this guy's getting up from work, he's going out his door to go down the stairs, and all of a sudden he finds out that the whole staircase is collapsed.
Maybe now I understand why they have censoring of all the news in China.
Well, did you guys ever see the video of the Chinese escalator that like swallowed a person?
No.
Yeah, escalators are like apex predators over there, dude.
Well, I don't think any of us are allowed to go to China, so
Yeah, we're
Probably
done at this
That's
point.
probably a good thing.
incredibly.
Fuck their dystopian hellhole.
Current case social credit score -3 trillion.
3 trillion. Speaking of censorship, I remember back in like season 1, we were talking about the possible TikTok ban because that was being pushed around.
Hashtag called it.
Called it. I mean, we actually did. I predicted. I listened back and I was like, I think it might happen the first quarter of 2023. I'm like, oh shit, wow, I might be right here.
Oh.
I was like, yeah. I was like, shit, I might be right because now there's a possible, or that TikTok bill has been approved, so Biden would be able to actually sign off on it. Right now, it is going to the House. However, there is some criticism coming from the Democrats. But I actually did hear just today, a couple hours ago, Biden's press speaker, I forget her name, but she said, I don't know, that TikTok does seem like it could be a threat to national security. Of course, she represents Biden and the Democrats, so maybe some Democrats would sign off on the bill. I mean, I think it'll pass the House, but the Senate is probably the big question.
What was so wrong with the Vine and iFunny? Like, let's just go back to the classics.
Okay, honestly though, I am in full support of this ban because the mental health of a lot of teenagers will increase.
And the attention span.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I was reading an article the other day, I don't remember exactly what it was off of. That may not be on top of my sources. Oops. L, right? It was saying that like screen time and which I think this is pretty well understood for a while. But screen time and like self-image are inversely correlated in teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
So more screen time is reduced self-image, less screen time is improved self-image.
Really?
So yeah. Newsflash: social media is actually not good for you. So it's people will riot at this, but just ban Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything while you're at it, and the mental health will go up.
Didn't you delete your social media pages for a while?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
How'd that turn out?
Honestly, it was like the best I had felt mentally, and especially I did it right at the beginning of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I felt mentally, honestly. Like I started getting back on it when I started medical school, just because all my classmates were on it. I was trying to like
Make some more friends.
Yeah, but honestly, like when it comes time for residency, I might go off completely again because it's not worth it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I deleted my Instagram, and I mean, I saw my Facebook, but I don't ever log on to it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my mental health, I think, definitely shot up. This was last year at this time. Definitely shot up. I felt like I'm a lot more productive now, not wasting time scrolling. I mean, I still have a Snapchat, but I just use that like for streaks.
Well, I would say Snapchat's a little different in my opinion because like that's actually like a messaging app.
Right.
More so, I think, than a social media app. At least that's what I used it for. Yes, you can have like stories and stuff like that, but it's not the same as Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
Right. You're just trying to like market yourself or show off what you're doing and stuff. So definitely getting rid of Facebook, Instagram. I completely agree. It's helped me out.
You know,
immensely.
I've never had a Facebook.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
aren't
never-
you special?
I am. It's been great.
I think the average user age of Facebook has increased dramatically over the past
It's all
5-7
boomers.
years, especially once Instagram took off. But
It's all our parents now that use Facebook. Like that's all my parents are ever on.
as a medical student, I would fully support the ban of Facebook. Trust me, it would make my future job so much easier. I don't have parents getting in like echo chambers about random
Vaccines
things
and
that are.
autism. Now, what about Tylenol? Did you see that study that came out
No, I did not.
recently? It said, if I remember this correctly, pregnant mothers who took Tylenol during pregnancy ended up with an increased risk of autism in their children.
I mean, if they took like a bottle a day, yeah, sure, I could see that. But like, come on, like there are definitely things that are toxic during pregnancy, but Tylenol, really, it does produce a toxic metabolite, which is why you have to be careful not to take too much, right? But I don't know. I don't get that.
I have to look into that myself.
So you're saying I shouldn't be swallowing a handful every time I have a minor headache?
Shit.
That okay? Literally, I guess I probably shouldn't talk about that.
Like back on the TikTok, I mean, I'm not going to repeat points that I said back like when we were talking about the original ban. I mean, I think it's probably going to happen at this point just based on what Biden's press secretary had to say. I think at least now with her stance, or at least his stance on it, I think they'll probably get enough Democrats to get on board with this.
So it's good when Biden does it, but it's terrible when Trump does it.
Oh, yeah.
Double standards. Not much you can really do about that.
Is it really even a political thing, though? It's not like TikTok is like supporting gun control or abortion or whatever. Like, it's not like it's supporting a specific political issue. Like,
they said, like, at least the last I saw, argument by one of the senators and one of the Democratic senators. They were like, oh, this kind of goes with Republican censorship. They wanted to censor all these teenagers, all the people who use TikTok, the freedom of speech, freedom of expression. It's in line with DeSantis banning books in Florida and stuff.
freedom of expression would increase the suicide rates dramatically. I don't know about that one.
You expect them to do research and fact check what and do
I
statistics?
know,
What?
right? I
Kidding me?
know. That's my bad. I'll keep myself in line.
God damn. I'm just going to say whatever I say based on my emotions.
Okay. I was talking with somebody about that the other day. I feel like that has been the source of so many problems we've seen, especially since COVID. It's like there's just been this shift in culture even more that's like, you don't have to be logical. You can just be emotional and nobody will check you for it, right? So then we just get a bunch of emotional people thinking not logically. And look, you don't have to think logically at every point, but like, especially in professional situations, it helps a little bit, you know?
But yeah, doing your homework, doing research, it's a good thing every once in a while.
Once in a while.
Once in a while.
Goodness.
But, I mean,
Only on Tuesdays.
only on Tuesday.
I would say I have a schedule. It's every other Tuesday and Thursday, every third quarter. So other than that,
Under a
like,
full moon.
exactly. No, actually, it has to be the harvest moon. The specific.
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Regardless of how you make sense of this twisted logic, I think if the TikTok ban does go ahead, it'll be a very rare instance of a good move by Congress.
Yes, God bless. I welcome it immensely.
Teenagers won't say the same thing.
Yeah. Throw WeChat and other Chinese-based outlets like that out there, and we'd be golden.
I mean, all our shit's censored in China, so...
We should. Why not censor theirs in turn?
Exactly.
And then, like I've said before, bring back Vine.
Bring back Vine.
Come on, Elon, you have it now. Bring it back.
I want...
Like, that would be the smartest business decision you could possibly make for Twitter.
Maybe he's waiting until the TikTok.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
I mean, that'd be phenomenal.
Who knows?
I want an American company to harvest my data, not a Chinese company. Let me make that clear.
I thought the Patriot Act already did that.
Shit.
No, that's a government company.
Well, I think the Patriot Act sucks.
Damn.
It's unconstitutional. They're spying on us. It's pathetic. They need to stop now.
Oh, but as a marketer, I love Prism.
Wait, so tell us how you really feel.
But that's my evidence on why I'm starting to see us move away from China. Like, honestly, since this Chinese spy balloon incident, we've been, I think, making that push away from China. I mean, like you said, Ashton, it should have happened way before that. I know you're arguing we shouldn't have even reopened relations with them, but especially since what happened after COVID and the recent COVID lab leak theory. So,
Theory? I thought it was confirmed now.
I should say confirmation.
I double checked on that. It was a report that was given moderate confidence from whatever U.S. bureau reported it.
So I think it's pretty much an open secret at this point that it leaked out of the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
What do you think, Weston?
I'm not going to comment on, like, do I think they absolutely did it or they absolutely didn't? Mm-hmm. I don't have enough information. Do I think it's possible? Do I think it's, like, absolutely reasonable to assume that they could have done it? Yeah. With the technology that we have nowadays, especially actually with how we make some of our vaccines, how we're able to do that, we can take, and I'll try not to get too much in the weeds, but we could take like specific genes, specific fragments of DNA from specific organisms, and we can splice them together in pretty much any order we want. So yes, you can, like how we make vaccines in a attenuated, inactive sense to help us get immunity, you can also specifically, unfortunately, craft a virus to do whatever you want it to. So it is possible at the very least.
Complete tangent here. I remember back a couple episodes ago we talked about AP classes, right?
Yeah.
I remember in my AP bio class we used CRISPR to edit the DNA and bacteria with the jellyfish genes and make them glow and stuff. And of course, my group was the one who like did it the best, made it glow the best. But
Humble
it's like
brag over there,
if
got
we're
it.
doing that in American high schools, imagine what they can do in a properly funded biological research lab.
Yeah. I mean, and look, CRISPR, for good reason, has been used for a lot of genetic diseases, and they've been able to potentially reverse incurable genetic diseases. So it can obviously be used for good, but it can also unfortunately be used for bad. So did they do it? I guess probably based on like we said, the intelligence that we have. Why they did it? Who knows?
Well, most likely, I think, given we talked earlier about the shoddy quality control they have in a lot of their infrastructure and buildings and whatnot, I'd say it was accidental.
Conspiracy is that, remember at that time they were trying to deal with all the protesters and stuff in China and Taiwan, and it just magically got released.
Oh yeah, that was the Hong Kong protests when they took control.
So, we're going so far down the conspiracy theory.
Oh yeah,
let's play the game. Okay, let's
we're
go.
diving down the rabbit holes.
So this is how I would think about it. So they want a virus that would get people off the streets, but is not serious enough to make it look like it's intense, right? Like something, and I feel like I need to put my tinfoil hat on when we're doing this, but it's like something that's not too serious, like the common cold, reasonable to assume people would get, can spread easily, but would get them what they want, right?
Okay.
So maybe, yeah, that could align with what you were saying.
It's probably best not to speculate too much on it.
Yeah.
But regardless of how it got out and why, I think it's safe to say that in China it's certainly tried to take full advantage of this crisis.
And I'd say, us just doing this now, 2 years later, it's again kind of another FU to China that we are trying to move away from them. And based on everything else we just talked about, I'm fully convinced. I think we actually are starting this. You guys convinced? You think this is just all a coincidence that all this is happening after the Chinese spy balloon incident?
I would say it's certainly a few steps in the right direction. They just have to keep going with this, and then I'll be convinced.
Okay.
I might be convinced possibly in a month if they possibly keep going with it. Maybe. That's the general trend that they've been pushing.
Don't you just love it when they're being ambiguous?
I'll believe it when I see it.
It's what governments do best.
Fucking
That's
cynic.
that's their thing.
I don't trust the government at all. I
I'll
don't think
trust
they're.
them.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. They've given me no real reason to believe they're going to follow through. They've given me no indication that they're going to follow through. They just kind of said they're going to do something, which government says a lot of stuff.
That's true.
So we'll
That's
see.
true.
Yeah, right now it's a lot of saying they will sanction China if they do this. They will ban TikTok. And yeah, Cameron, I do agree. The fact is they haven't done it yet, though. So I guess when they start doing it, that's when we are holding our ground. This is going to happen.
Yeah. Of course, the biggest pushback from this is obviously going to come from the businessmen on Wall Street who don't want their blood money to be cut off.
Yeah.
And I also wish that our neighbors up north in Canada would do the same, because I remember seeing earlier today that Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party seem to be in bed with the CCP. The CCP, supposedly 2 years ago, the CCP ran a major influence campaign in their elections. And Trudeau and the Liberal Party are trying to downplay it by calling the whistleblowers spreading misinformation.
Canada's too busy
Fake
trying
news.
to euthanize their entire population to do anything else. Like you go up there, I have a cold. Have you thought about committing suicide over it? It's like there's medicine in that country. is so much.
Yeah. Well, people from other countries, especially the United States, kind of look at Canada and see, look, they have free healthcare. This is awesome. Sure, you might have to wait a little bit if you get hurt, but Well, that's the price you pay for it being free. No, it's worse than that, right? You'll go in, you'll be seen by somebody, and then they'll tell you what's wrong, and then get you set up to go see like a specialist to actually fix the problem, whatever it may be. And oftentimes, people will be waiting like months to actually be
Years,
seen,
yeah.
years even, which results in these things becoming chronic issues, sometimes even permanent, sometimes even fatal issues. It's a lot worse than just, oh, you might have to wait a couple hours to get your broken arm fixed.
Unfortunately, that's not too far different from our system too. And I don't know. That's why I don't get the whole like one country has a better healthcare system than the other, because like they all have drawbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, trust me, health insurance in this country, procedures are way too expensive, and health insurance companies are profiting like crazy. I mean, like,
Weston, what's the solution? How would you run a healthcare system?
I'm a medical student, not a politician.
I know, but in Weston's hypothetical dreamland here, what would
And okay, in the
ideal care?
hypothetical dreamland, I could treat all my patients. They wouldn't have to pay anything, and I would still get my paycheck. But that doesn't work, right?
Or
like,
how about whatever you say to your patients goes, and you don't have to
Yeah,
worry
that's a
about
whole other
insurance and
issue.
everything else.
that's a whole other podcast. Honestly, like that like that's not even another episode. Like that's another season. Is the healthcare system that we?
I know, that's exactly why I quit medicine.
Oh,
I
it's
didn't want to deal
so
with it.
it's I don't know. To stay on point, it's like all the healthcare systems are flawed in more ways than one. And it doesn't matter if you're a capitalist country or a communist country or not a communist country, but you're a communist country or whatever it may be called. Like, people will always complain that another country's better, but really none of them are better. So,
The old fallacy of the grass is greener on the other side, I suppose.
exactly.
Mhm.
Until it
Exactly.
is.
Well, plus, what people don't understand about Canada's healthcare system is the vast majority of Canadians, I think it's something like 70% or more, have private health insurance in addition to what the government gives them. And usually that's a perk of working for the company that they work for. Now, sometimes if you have a non-traditional job, you might have to pay for your own healthcare out of pocket, but that's really not too dissimilar from how it works in this country.
I think we might have gone a bit off topic. And I was originally trying to take a stab at the Liberal Party for basically trying to cover up the CCP's interference in their elections, and now somehow we got onto Canada's healthcare system.
Fuck Canada. Oh, I just hate Canada.
Yeah, our neighbors to the north have some serious
They
problems.
do.
Certainly giving Trudeau the boot would be a good place to start for them.
Certainly.
For sure, as long as Jagmeet Singh doesn't come into power, the NDP is like way worse than the Liberal Party. They're like the Liberal Party is like center left. The NDP is like radical left.
It's a nice spectrum they got going there.
Yeah.
Anywho,
So right now, the Supreme Court's hearing two cases that have to do with social media. One's Gonzalez versus Google. The other's Twitter versus Tamina. These both have to deal with the terrorists or ISIS attacks back in 2015 and 2017. Basis for the cases are both the same. They were recorded and posted on social media, one being on Twitter, the other being on Google, or on YouTube. The Gonzalez one was the YouTube one. Essentially, these are families of the victims. They're claiming that there was a violation, or that Google was promoting organizations like ISIS by allowing this content on their platforms. So the Supreme Court is hearing that case right now. The possible implications of it is that, well, first, it won't break the internet. However, it could change the way social media actually operates. So it would change the way social media companies interact with their users, what they could actually post on social media. They might have to have more firm control over what users post. So essentially, I mean, even now, social media, I think, these companies have a pretty high stake investment in what is posted on their platforms. We've seen that probably since like 2018 during the YouTube ad apocalypse.
So we're back to censorship.
Yep, back to censorship.
yeah, there's so many ways that this can go wrong, I feel. Why, even right now already, we have troubles. We have this sort of trouble where even if it's just one person say so, a certain video or topic, even if it's talking about something that's completely, I guess, what's a good word? Sane or level-headed, I guess you could say. Someone, for some reason, can basically start claiming about, put some outlandish claim out there that that's sort of extreme language, since it doesn't conform to my ideology, and that can get snowball into a whole big problem.
Right.
Already we have that kind of problem here. I honestly think that if this does go through and these big media companies start cracking down more on this sort of thing, it's only going to get worse.
I want to focus on YouTube specifically because I think that's a platform we're probably the most familiar with. I mean, it's the one I use the most and the one I've used the longest.
Same here.
Yep.
I first created my YouTube account back in like 2008 when I was in like 4th grade. Just like what you could do back then on YouTube was insane. Like you could create your own format for your channel. You could design it your own unique way. You had the ability to create your own background and have it animated as well. People could comment on your channel. You could share videos. You could forward videos on other videos. Of course, they had a star rating system as well.
Yep.
So it was like all about the user.
Oh yeah, like old school 2007 YouTube was something else. It was fantastic, and I don't know if we're ever going to see another platform like that. I hope we do, but I don't know if we will.
Right. It was like that change. Did you use YouTube back in the 2000s?
Yeah, for sure.
I remember all the comments arguments I got with people. I was using the F-bomb. Like, I thought it was cool.
Oh, you were so cool.
I know.
Are we getting old now? Back in my day.
Time certainly flies, whether you like it or not.
Welcome to the table, boomers.
I'll be getting into my skilled nursing facility next week.
But like around like 2013, so when Google bought out YouTube, and this is around when Susan Wojcicki took over as CEO. That's when it really became corporate. They removed the channel custom backgrounds. Like all channels basically look the same. They still do now. They had the dislike system replace the stars, and we don't even have dislikes anymore because it hurts my feelings every time we get a dislike on our video. So I prefer not to see it.
Yeah, I wish we could see it. Then we'd actually, wow, look at that. You'd be able to see if people don't like what you're posting and be able to change it. What an idea.
You can see it on your own statistics, but of course no one else can see it. So
constructive criticism, that hurts my feelings.
Well, it does.
All because everyone in mass disliked one of YouTube's rewind.
It's like it's still not good even for the consumer, like not even for the creators, but for other people. Like you used to be able to look at stuff, and if it had a bunch of dislikes, then you'd know that it's probably not good quality content. It's probably not correct information if it's an informational video. But now you just see the likes, and you got to just figure it out for yourself.
Indeed. It probably made that sort of thing worse.
To play devil's advocate, what I will say is that I do remember specifically when there were dislikes and everything like that, witch hunting was not uncommon, and people would go, fan bases would go and specifically dislike people's videos, and that could, people were making money off YouTube, so that could affect their livelihood and stuff like that, so.
Remember when everyone disliked the one Jake Paul music video?
God Church.
No, it was the
huge Jake.
Why am I blanking on this?
You don't remember every single one of Jake Paul's YouTube videos?
No, it was the one music video that had the white Lamborghini Aventador Super Veloce in it.
Now we know why you remembered it.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I ever watched that video. But yeah, people do that all the time.
Still, one can say that the role of ruining YouTuber careers has shifted from the viewer base up to the people running YouTube as a whole.
Right.
True.
So YouTube has gotten, just the internet as a whole, it's gotten so corporate.
Society,
yeah. Societal shift.
Bureaucrats.
Bureaucrats ruin everything. These damn bureaucrats. But it's impossible to grow on YouTube nowadays. You can't most of the time when you search up videos, it's of course the big sponsored media channels that get promoted. It's hard to find smaller channels nowadays. It's only the old big ones, or again corporations that have their own channels that get featured. The trending tab is probably all corporations, all stage stuff. So impossible to grow, discover new material nowadays. YouTube wants you to see this. They don't really want you to see anybody else.
Remember how we were talking about China earlier? I'm noticing some trends.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It also kind of highlights how the idea of opening up trade with China so that they would liberalize and become more democratic has not only failed, but I would argue backfired, since a lot of these same corporations are starting to take pages out of the CCP's book. And
Right. And to be fair, CEO Susan Wojcicki did resign a couple weeks ago. So when I first saw that, I was like, oh, hell yeah. She's
Good
stepping down.
riddance.
Good riddance, yeah. But then I saw who was replacing her, and I was like, oh, shit, here we go again. It's Neil Mohan. He was the guy who came up with the idea of YouTube Shorts, which you could argue have also
Came up with the idea.
which have also ruined YouTube as they move towards corporatism. Mohan has also stated that YouTube's going to continue building the living room experience with streaming products like YouTube TV and primetime channels. He's also supporting his distribution channel for the NFL Sunday Ticket, making YouTube the best place to watch football.
Interesting.
He also said, affects us podcasting will receive a boost later this year, as they're going to add RSS integration, which will offer podcasters another way to upload their shows to YouTube and give our users more listening options. Oh shit, never mind. Maybe I like this guy.
well,
I take that back, Neil Mohan.
well, that's one good point out of how many debatable points.
Right, he was a big fan of NFTs. He was a big promoter of that. YouTube Shorts, which of course are trying to copy the TikTok trend, along with Instagram Reels, and does Facebook have Shorts now?
Probably.
Who knows? We don't use it these days.
No, I think it's stories like Instagram, not shorts like YouTube, TikTok. I think.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, again, teaming up with these giant corporations, it's lost its soul. It's like, it's not what YouTube was supposed to be about. It's supposed to be a place for everybody, all content creators.
Soul disappears very quickly when money enters your back pocket.
We live in a society, can't we?
We do.
If only we could resurrect Theodore Roosevelt, have him bust up these monopolies.
Good old Teddy.
Gosh, that's like your catchphrase for this season.
Yes. We honestly need another president like Teddy Roosevelt.
That's what the lab in China should be working on.
The last thing Mohan had to say here, because they interviewed him just about his plans for the platform. He said AI gives us a bunch of creative opportunities. Creators, viewers will have more choices across our format. He said, I saw YouTube's strength years ago in its office above a pizza parlor. The power comes from a shared sense of community that is more than the sum of its parts. The magic of our platform is the creators, artists, advertisers, and viewers that can do something to make YouTube amazing.
The advertisers, creators, artists, advertisers.
30-second ads.
Advertisers.
60-second ads.
Before you hear more from this speech, please watch this 30-second ad.
Those
Then
2
this could
minutes.
be a minute ad. Then this could be 5-minute ads. Then pretty soon you just have to sit there.
No,
And then you'll.
they know though. They know people will literally just leave the platform if they do that. That's too long.
You'd be surprised.
That's a big thing. It's like YouTube is allowed to do this because they have no competition. Who's going to rival them? Where are people going to go? Vimeo? Daily Motion?
Hey,
Live Leak.
Live Leak? Didn't Pornhub consider like doing a non-porn section for video streaming or something?
Well,
I saw that.
Back before you had to be verified to post there, a lot of people did post just like whatever they wanted, like full movies, meme videos.
Oh yeah, you know all about
Never
that, dude.
this podcast is rated M for mature.
And then they purged it, so now you got to be verified, so no more memes.
Damn.
All gone.
Back to the porn addiction again.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, it's like no options, no rivals for YouTube, so they're allowed to get away with this stuff because, well, where are we going to go?
Go make your own YouTube, Jared.
Shit, all right, we want to team up?
Yeah.
New business idea?
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. You got a couple million in cash there.
Yeah, let's call our friend Elon. Be like, all right, Elon,
Yeah.
you've got the one social media platform.
You never know. If he actually reads whatever you send him and he likes it enough, he would be crazy enough
I
to do
mean,
it.
ideally, Elon already has Twitter, so there's your whatever he calls it, community square idea. Then all he has to do is resurrect Vine. There's your short form video format thing. Then he just needs to do a platform like YouTube where you can open up long form content that people can post, and then you have all three. You have the quick communication, you have short form content, and then you have long form content. That's all he has to do. Let's see if he's genius enough to execute that.
Are you a Vine lobbyist in your spare time?
No, that's fine. 2016, the good old days. Back when Life is simple. Jared, you literally talked about this like a few days ago, about reminiscing over Vine.
I mean, I missed some parts of Vine. I mean, there's a couple of like good stuff that came out of there, but once Vine shut down, everybody moved to YouTube. All the old Viners,
That's
and
true.
and everyone went to TikTok. So where else are people going to go? I don't think Vine would be resurrected again. I mean, I'm sure some other platform.
Yeah, something
They
will pop
open.
up.
Yeah,
Twig, I guess.
Twig. There you go, Ashton. Started out. Twig. I like it. And then, or we get this rolling right here. We don't spy on anybody on Twig, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
We only let the government use the back door.
My FBI agent told me to say.
So we'll see. Okay, yeah. Going back to that court case, I mean, we'll see if it actually gets ruled, because I really don't know how the justices will feel about this case. I mean, I know them pretty well at this point, just based on their previous rulings, but I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one when they actually get that ruling out.
I mean, I actually think it is a really interesting thing to follow, because this, I mean, are there any cases that I'm not thinking of that have set, like Supreme Court cases that have set precedent for social media before?
I don't think so. At least not off the top of my head. I have to dig a little bit.
Like, there wasn't a 2013 Smith v. Instagram case that I missed out on?
There might have been.
Um,
Nothing big, probably. Nothing this big, I should say.
So, like, I mean, obviously, if we look back at all the different super important cases in history, precedent setting is very important
Yeah.
when it comes to the Supreme Court. So we could be witnessing history.
Could be.
Sounds like we're doing that on a semi-daily basis at this point.
Yeah, well,
I will say this regarding the whole thing about social media going on right now. I think really it is up to the content creator what they get to post. Whether that gets accepted or rejected by the wider community is complete. I feel that's a completely different matter. But it can be all too easy for a lot of these even terrorist organizations like ISIL to potentially hijack something if the door is open to them. But is that necessarily the fault of the platform or the publisher? I honestly don't think so. I think it's if you want to go after someone, go after the person who tried to hijack that thing. It's not necessarily the fault of the publisher.
See if the Supreme Court has your views or not. Like I said, I honestly don't know what they're going to think about this case. It seems some are leaning towards the side of Gonzalez, from what I've seen, but not much has been leaked out just yet. Luckily, we didn't have this podcast when Roe v. Wade was overturned. That would have been that would have been a one.
Oh boy.
So we're staying out of that one.
that's a great topic. I think we should talk about that.
But yeah, we'll see where it goes. I mean, it's not the first time content has been censored. I've noticed, like, since the Apocalypse from YouTube around like 2017, 2018, like anything historical, like if you're trying to look up the Nazi Germany national anthem, you're not going to find that anymore. Anything like past that might be controversial has been basically censored.
Oh, please understand, the wrong people might be trying to use this and glorify it, so you're not allowed to see it anymore.
Oh no, Cameron, you won't be able to watch your Chinese death videos anymore.
Shit. Reddit already got rid of what was that? Some watch
Reddit,
people
Reddit
die
got rid of r/
and
watch
fat
die.
people hate. Yeah.
I mean, okay. I do think it's a slippery slope, and it is scary to think about, because we thrive in this country. I mean, look at all the news outlets off of freedom of speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we start to lose that I think though, I hope we don't go too far down that road.
Hopefully not. I mean, I'm kind of just staying, like, how far will they even take it? I mean, I feel like at this point there's already been tons of censorship on social media. How much will actually even change if they do rule in favor of Gonzalez? We'll see, though. I'm going to be following this case. If there's any updates, I'll certainly mention it on here. All right, so, well, thank you, Weston, for coming on tonight again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, you guys. It's always a good time.
Glad to hear that. Tune in next time. Cameron's not going to be here for episode 10. He's going to Florida. Fuck. So it'll be a bit of a smaller podcast. We'll try to get another guest star on. So stay tuned for that, and we will see you next time.